Disney is where magic lives. The characters, the music, the fairy tales, it shaped our childhoods and still captures hearts around the world. But what if not everything was as innocent as it seemed? What if buried beneath the songs and sparkles were dark secrets, disturbing messages, and controversial imagery that went completely unnoticed by most viewers? Today, we're diving deep into Disney's darkest hidden secrets and the subliminal messages scattered throughout their movies. Some are shocking, some are creepy, and some, well, you might never see your favorite Disney films the same way again. Number 1. Aladdin, Hidden Messages in the Wind. Let's start with Aladdin, the 1992 animated classic, a scene that seems romantic and harmless until you listen closely. During the balcony scene where Aladdin approaches Jasmine while she's playing with Raja, you can hear him whisper,
"Come on, good tears, take off the..."
It's faint. Some claim it's just noise. Others insist it's a subliminal line planted intentionally. Disney officially denies it, saying the line was, "Good kitty, take off and go," referring to Raja, but the controversy was big enough that they edited it out of later home video releases. Number 2. The Lion King, the dust that spells SEX. In The Lion King, there's a scene where Simba collapses on a cliffside. A puff of dust swirls into the air, and for a split second, it forms the letters SEX. Or does it? The image sparked major backlash from parents in the 90s. Disney later claimed the letters actually spell SFX, an Easter egg by the animation team. Whether it's intentional or not, the fact that so many people noticed and Disney removed it in later releases makes it one of the most infamous subliminal moments in Disney history. Number 3. The Little Mermaid. What's up with that VHS cover? Let's talk about The Little Mermaid's original VHS cover art, a classic image of Ariel, King Triton, and the underwater castle behind them. But zoom in on one of those castle towers, and it looks very inappropriate. One of the golden spires is shaped like male genitalia. Urban legend claimed it was a rogue artist's revenge for being fired. Disney denied it was intentional, but quietly changed the artwork in later releases. Whether it was a prank, a mistake, or just poor design, the fact that millions of VHS tapes went out with that image on the cover is wild. Beauty and the Beast, Stockholm Syndrome, and dark subtext. Beauty and the Beast is one of Disney's most beloved stories, but some critics have pointed out a deeply troubling theme: Stockholm Syndrome. Belle is imprisoned in a castle by a terrifying beast. Over time, she begins to sympathize with him, forgives his aggression, and falls in love. The story rewards this behavior as romantic, even though it mirrors real-life abusive dynamics. Some argue it's just fantasy. Others say it subtly teaches children to excuse controlling behavior if it's packaged with kindness later on. Either way, it's a theme that raises serious questions. Number 5. Toy Story 3, a metaphor for the Holocaust? Toy Story 3 is emotional and intense, but some viewers believe it contains a dark metaphor about real-world genocide. The scene where the toys are rounded up, trapped, and almost incinerated has striking similarities to descriptions of concentration camps. The image of the toys holding hands and accepting their fate in the furnace is hauntingly adult. Pixar never confirmed this interpretation, but the imagery, tone, and emotional weight of that scene is unusually heavy for a kids' movie. Was it a metaphor or just coincidence? Number 6. Walt Disney's obsession with the occult. Walt Disney himself was fascinated with mythology, mysticism, and symbology, and some believe he hid occult references in his films and theme parks. In Fantasia, multiple segments show rituals, demons, and apocalyptic imagery, especially Night on Bald Mountain. Some fans believe certain architecture in Disneyland references Freemasonry and esoteric symbols. There's even a rumor that Walt Disney had his body cryogenically frozen. Spoiler, he wasn't, but the rumor persists. Whether it's artistic expression or something deeper, Disney has always walked the line between light and dark, and that contrast may be what makes their stories so powerful and sometimes unsettling. Number 7. Pinocchio's Pleasure Island, a chilling allegory for child trafficking. On the surface, Pleasure Island in Pinocchio is a cautionary tale about misbehaving, but many believe it's actually a disturbingly accurate allegory for child exploitation. In the film, Pinocchio and other boys are lured away with promises of fun, food, and freedom. They're taken by the coachman, a sinister figure who brings them to Pleasure Island, a place with no rules and endless indulgence. But then, the horror begins. The boys are slowly turned into donkeys, stripped of their humanity, and sold into slavery. The coachman never faces justice. The donkeys cry out for help, and some even remember being boys, but no one comes to save them. It's one of the darkest sequences ever animated by Disney. Some theorists believe this represents real-world trafficking, where children are lured, manipulated, and discarded. The film's cheerful style masks a story that's deeply unsettling and still controversial to this day. Number 8. The tragic theory behind why Disney princesses don't have moms. Ever noticed how many Disney princesses don't have mothers? It's not just a coincidence, it might be one of the most heartbreaking patterns in Disney's storytelling. Let's count them. Ariel, no mom. Cinderella, mother dies early. Snow White, same. Belle, raised by her father. Jasmine, Elsa, Anna, Moana, all motherless or lose their moms quickly. There's a theory that this recurring theme stems from a personal tragedy in Walt Disney's life. After his success with Snow White, Walt bought a house for his parents, but due to a faulty gas heater, his mother died of carbon monoxide poisoning. According to biographers, Walt never spoke publicly about it, and some believe he felt deep guilt. After that, many Disney films began to feature motherless protagonists, possibly reflecting his own grief and trauma. Some fans believe the absence of mothers forces the characters to grow up faster, but also removes a crucial safety net, setting up stories that are full of pain, isolation, and premature responsibility. Whether it was creative storytelling, hidden symbolism, or a reflection of personal pain, one thing is clear. Disney's world of fantasy has always had a shadow cast behind the fairy dust. From suggestive messages and questionable artwork to unsettling themes hidden in plain sight, these are just a few of the darkest secrets Disney has tried to quietly move past. Do these theories change how you see Disney? Or are they just wild fan speculation? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into movie conspiracies, disturbing theories, and the stories behind the magic, subscribe and hit that bell, because things are only getting darker from here.